And we say, what's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard, Ballard Sports Media, coming at you with our call-in show. Just gonna be open and honest. Yeah, I'm still working, but I lost one of my jobs. I won't get into it. It's all good, left on good terms, but um, I'm gonna be free for a couple Sunday nights, and I figure we start the call-in show back up, especially with the college football season winding down a bit. Just kinda give everyone a chance to come on, talk up some college football. We could talk basketball if you want to. Currently got who is this? The Lakers and the Clippers, and it's 62-46 in favor of the Clippers right now. Um, with a minute and a half left in the first half. So that's good. We got a couple people watching. I haven't seen any comments yet, but do us a favor, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Really would appreciate it. Love each and every one of you on here, and we will go ahead and drop the StreamYard link. Again, we got a couple people watching. I haven't seen anyone in the comments yet other than earlier Lawn Tractor Life. I wish this were on so late. Well, what do you consider late? I mean, it's 10 p.m. Eastern. 9 Central. I guess it's kind of late, but we're here. And if you don't want to stay up for it, that's that's on you. I'm not mad. I get it, bro. But either way. So I will say this. Tomorrow is the national championship, but also it is big for our country. And I don't really get political on here. But I guess the only thing I will say is I hope that we can all agree to the good Lord above that his will be done for the next 4 years for America and what Donald Trump is going to try to do. Um and I say it like that. What I'm trying to say is just pray for guidance for Trump overall. Is kind of how I view this. And yeah, I mean, we've had 4 years of him before, and personally, I thought they were some of the best 4 years, but at the same time, you never know what could happen, so I'm not gonna get too far into it, I'm not gonna go any deeper into that. I just wanted to say that with tomorrow being a big day for Inauguration Day. Also, you think it's cold where you are. Well, it depends on where you are. Um It's in the 20s right now here in Alabama, and I'm sure in DC where it's gonna be held at the Capitol and everything, uh, it's gonna be even colder. So much colder that they are having it indoors this time around, whereas in years past, obviously, it's been outdoors, at the steps of the White House or Capitol, whatever, but anyway, I leave that subject behind, right? So Ohio State and Notre Dame play for the Natty tomorrow night. That is more important in this community in terms of college football. And we kind of have to talk about this. Myself and Mayhem are going to be live for the game tomorrow night. I almost decided to, how do I put this? I almost decided to call him up and say, you know what, I think I'll go to Vince Group tomorrow night. But looking at the weather, I'm not leaving the house tomorrow. I'm not canceling with Mayhem. I'm like, I'm gonna be home anyway because I'm not leaving the house in this weather. It's so cold, dude. I'm wearing a hoodie right now. I'm wearing a beanie. It's so cold here. I'm from Florida, mind you. Okay, I'm not used to this. I mean, I've been up here a couple years, but come on, it's getting out of hand, Alabama. Southern State, my rear end. Just saying. Anyway, so here's what we got. Ohio State and Notre Dame. I don't know if I'll clip anything tonight. If we get some calls, great, and we'll see how those go. We got a couple people watching. Don't have anyone on the line yet. If you want to be part of the show, though, hit that StreamYard link in the comments section. Would really appreciate it. Ohio State and Notre Dame play tomorrow night in Atlanta, Georgia. Pretty much two northern Big Ten teams, even though Notre Dame is independent, they're in Indiana in Hoosier territory, near there at least. Um, Northern teams playing indoors in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I'm excited for this game for a couple different reasons. I guess one of them being that we have two unexpected teams. I mean, I guess we kind of expected Ohio State to be a pretty good team. Not great, but we said they'll be pretty good. They'll struggle a little bit, and they did. And then Notre Dame. I don't know what we expected from Notre Dame this offseason, but I do know this. When they lost that Northern Illinois game, everyone wrote them off, including me. I said this is inexcusable. But then we looked at Northern Illinois, who kept winning, and then they fell off, and then they won a little bit more, and they were ranked for like 2 weeks. And we're like, okay, maybe Northern Illinois is a little bit legit, and maybe that was just a bad day for Notre Dame. Well, now Notre Dame sits with only that loss on their schedule. They have everything in front of them to be an independent team and to win their first title since what, 1988, 87? Go back to the 80s, right? They have that chance tomorrow night, but they got to get past the Buckeyes. Now, the Buckeyes are favored by 8.5 points. 55.3% is what the matchup predictor is giving the Buckeyes to win this game. This is a 6:30 Central kickoff. Location in Atlanta, 7:30. We'll stick to that, right? Man, a number 8 versus a number 7 seed in the 12-team playoff bracket. Oh, well, it's just going to be a year where Georgia's going to do it. Or, well, you know, Texas is looking pretty good. Well, Texas made the semifinals. I'll give them credit. We had this. We had two Big Ten, one SEC, and obviously with Notre Dame and Independent in the semifinals. Ohio State wins by 14. Notre Dame wins by 3 with the field goal. Walks it off. Then gets the late stop on Drew Aller. Cool. When you really look at it, is this really a underdog story for both of these teams? Are we looking at a championship on Monday night, January 20th, tonight or tomorrow, whenever you're watching this? Maybe you're watching it the day of. Are we looking at a championship of underdogs or favorites? Are we looking at teams that have just built themselves up to get to this moment? Or are we looking at an underdog story with yet only one can win? One can finish the entire chapter, the entire story. Greatness awaits on Monday night, and I'm so excited for this one. It's Ohio State, it's Notre Dame. I got to hear from you guys. Is it an underdog tale, or are we looking at two of the best? Obviously, they've earned their right here. We know that for a fact. So, what's up? Oh my gosh, Ugga boy, how you doing, bro? Someone get on here and we'll take some calls, man. Listen, man. Ohio State and Notre Dame, this is going to be a good game. We're going to screen share this. I want to clip what I just said and go ahead and upload that because I think that'd be a great short. I really do. We'll go ahead and screen share this here. Let's do that. Give me 1 second. I'm going to turn some background music on and I'm going to clip something and then we'll get back to it. All right. I had to clip that. I had to clip that. That was good, what I just said. I'm not saying that to brag or nothing. I just sometimes, like, in my head, like, okay, so let me explain something real quick. You get on a show, you do a show, you talk about something, you say something, and you're like, I got to clip that later. I don't always write it down, but I also don't want to forget or get complacent later. So I just went ahead and did it. But anyway, we got a couple people watching. If you guys want to take calls tonight, we could do that. This is our call-in show. Sometimes we get callers, sometimes we don't always get callers. We always get people in the chat though. We got 3 watching right now, which I love and appreciate that. It's not much, but it's enough, and I love and appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. You really look at it. Is this really a underdog story for both of these teams? A underdog story for both of these teams. Well, these teams. Are we looking at a championship on Monday night, January? If you hear feedback, I'm trying to clip this for YouTube. No. Are we looking at a championship of underdogs or favorites? Are we looking at teams that have just built themselves up to get to this moment? Or are we looking at an underdog story? Anyway, I want to add some graphics to it. We'll do an Ohio State logo, and we'll do a Notre Dame logo, and we'll just add them. What's up, Octavian? He says go Irish. He ain't pulling for those Buckeyes. Neither am I. Like, it's like for Notre Dame and me, it's like I want them to join a conference and stop whining about this whole they have to be undefeated for the playoffs and stuff, which obviously that's not the case, but like it was a question years ago. It's like, oh well, what if they don't have a conference championship? I think they need to be in a conference championship. They need to be in a conference. I get that. But then you got Ohio State and it's like no nobody likes them. They just don't. I don't know what it is, but it feels like poison. And I'm not talking about the rat poison Nick Saban once talked about. I'm talking it feels toxic to pull for Ohio State. And that might sound critical, that might sound crazy, whatever. Deal with it. I want to make the animation loop. Look at it. It's here. We know that for a fact. Know that for a fact. We know that for a fact. Yaga Boy says why conference championship games don't really mean nothing no more. They played over 9 top 10. That's true. I could see that. I could see where you get to that point today. But if you really want to go based off like history and like I mean, we could have agreed on what I just said maybe 10, 15 years ago. But yeah, at this point, I mean, well, conference championships now, because we're in a 12-team era with rules and stuff, it's a you win your conference, all you get is a top 4 seed, top 5 seed, whatever it looks like, they get the bye. But um but yeah, I could get where it doesn't fit today, but I still kind of am in this thought process of like thinking about big picture, and I haven't trained my brain a little bit this year to like fit today's college football. You know what I'm saying? Like I have in ways, but at the same time, there's still things I'm still trying to get used to in this new era we're in. Octavian, what's up with you, bro?
What's going on, man?
You excited for this game?
Yeah, I'm so excited for Notre Dame. I want to see them win.
For sure, man. You got a score prediction?
31 to 24, Notre
Okay.
Dame.
7-point game. I like it. The spread opened 9.5. It dropped to 8.5 in favor of the Buckeyes. So yeah, I mean, if you want to bet the underdog there, I don't really see much risk in betting on Notre Dame. I think they're in a good position to win tomorrow night, and I would probably take them in a heartbeat. I mean, I've been saying that all week, and I think that you know, I know that we can say whatever we want to. Well, Ohio State beat Texas. Well, was Texas really all that this year? Oregon was, and I'll give them props for that game and maybe the Tennessee win. They blew out everybody they played in these playoffs. But Notre Dame played down to the wire and they were battle tested with Penn State, who I thought was a deserving team this year.
Yeah, I just want to see Notre Dame win. That they haven't won anything since the '80s, and it's kind of.
Yeah.
I want to see. I kind of want to see that happen. You know, Bama don't have a dog in the fight, or Florida have a dog in the fight. So I guess I'll pull for Notre Dame.
Yeah, right. I got you there.
The SEC championship next year is going to be Gators and Bama.
I
Sorry,
hope.
Georgia.
Yeah.
Sorry, Georgia.
I hope.
Sorry, Georgia fans. It's going to happen.
That'd be cool, man. Be like old times.
Uh, I love playing Alabama. I always tell people this. If it was three schools that if I would want to go to, I always wanted to go to the Gators. If I couldn't go to Florida, I wanted to go to Alabama or Tennessee. But Alabama won me over a long time ago. When I went, that's when that was on the probationary period. That's when Alabama was really bad at football,
Right.
really, really bad. You Georgia fans on here, man, y'all didn't find a quarterback. Y'all gonna be running the Wayne T offense next year. I just don't know. But I'm gonna get off of Violet, go get us, and see Bama next year.
Yeah, man. We'll see you. Thanks, Octavian. Thanks for coming on real quick, man. Love and appreciate you, brother. And yeah, you be good. Buckeyes football. Hashtag go Irish college football. Anyway. Sorry about that. Sorry, I'm distracted just a little bit. Like I said, I wanted to upload that as a short, so we'll get that up here real quick. But other than that, man, everything's been going okay. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Some of y'all knew that I worked at Walmart, whatever. Um, that recently fell through. Everything's okay. We left on good terms, just kind of a mutual parting or whatever. But I got some other stuff lined up. God's got a great plan. Trusting in Him with what He's got for me, and I guess you could say I have a little bit more time on here now. I'm still in school. Just started up the semester, off to a good start, but it's going good. I'm doing okay, and like I said, I'm just trusting in the Lord. He's got great things for you if you just keep looking up, keep loving and serving and trusting in him. And it's not always easy, but it's totally worth it. And so I I like the fact that I'll have some more free time on here with you guys for sure though. We'll try to get back to these call-in shows on Sunday on a regular, and we're trying to get the team previews. 60 views yesterday on our Penn State video. It could keep going, which would be awesome, but we'll see. Mayhem, what's up?
Oh, what's up?
How you doing, man? You ready to talk up this game? Take your time with it, man, and just to let the people know, we'll be live tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we are going to be live streaming from your channel and my channel
Yep.
tomorrow for the national championship.
We'll go live, by the way. Games at what, 7:30 Eastern, so let's do 7:20, just like 10 minutes before kickoff and stuff. But yeah, we both agree, and we'll be open about this. We got to get back to getting some really good content, man, and we've been working on it, and I love when we can get together and talk up some ball, man.
Yeah, so I mean, I the other day when we were previewing and predicting this national championship game, I felt like I put it all out on the table how I felt. I really did.
Mhm.
Everything that I said in the live stream still stands today. You know, I do have a question for you,
Yeah.
Ballard, as a fan. Okay, being that the season is just maybe a week or two, or like maybe like 10 days longer than it normally is. Do you? What are your thoughts on that? Do you like it, or do you
Well,
feel like do you feel like the season's never going to end, or like do you like that the feeling that the season's never going to end, type of thing? Tomorrow's the end of the season for sure, but
it
it
feels like
doesn't
it's still going, even
does it
still,
yeah
because
does it feel? I know it is longer, but does it feel longer to you?
it does. It feels like it's stretched out. I hate that the season is actually going to end tomorrow, but I think we have an advantage as fans. Maybe not so much on the players and coaches, because I feel like it takes a little less time out of the off season, maybe by a week or two. But I think for us fans, from our perspective, having had it extended playoff with an extra week for the national championship on the 20th instead of what could have been last week on the 13th or something. Um, I like that because we're at the end of January, which means we're a week or two closer to the season when it ends, and we don't have as long of an off season. But still, like, I feel for the players who maybe look at it at a disadvantage if maybe they don't have as much time to practice and prepare for next year, if you get what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. Speaking of, well, I would love the season to keep on going. I love college football, but um, speaking of preparing, I was going to talk about this on the last live show that we did together, but
Mhm.
it was late. So I wanted to get your thoughts on this particular subject. How do you feel about the bye week? Like, all right, so in the 12-team playoff this season, the very first season of the 12-team playoffs, every team that was rewarded a bye week, they lost. I
Mhm.
want to know your opinion. Do you think it's way too early to talk about this because we only had one year of it, or do you think that going forward we can see more of this happen because maybe they have too much time off, or maybe these coaches hasn't prepared the teams for that long of a break? Like, how? I want your thoughts on all of it.
So you're asking me about like how I feel about basically the first round buys of the playoff?
Yeah, do you think it's an advantage or a disadvantage? And do you think that this year was just a coincidence that all of them lost in the first round, or do you think that we could see this being a trend in the future?
It could possibly be a trend, but I still think we gotta wait and see how it plays out. As far as the advantage part of it, I look at it like um I I get them setting it up that way. Kind of. I mean, like, you can only do so much with 12 teams and how you set up the format. Again, personally, I think it should have been to 8 teams, and, like, I would have done it like 1 plays 8 or, like, 1 plays 4 still, and then you have 5 versus 8, 6 and 7, 2 and 3, however you do it. But with no first round buys, by the way, you just straight up play these games. But with 12 teams, the format makes sense to give the top 4 seeds a first round bye, but you still give them more rest, whereas you rush into the first round games with the lower seeds, where even though some of them might have played in a conference title game, obviously, and like you had, for example, Penn State played Oregon in the Big Ten, right? In the Big
Mm-hmm.
Ten championship. So then they had to have a week off. They so they get the week off. They rush into that first round game against SMU. They did a fantastic job in that game. I think we could all agree there. But let's then you got a team like an SMU. Well, were they not prepared in that game because they had to rush into it after having lost to Clemson? So I guess it kind of depends on how you're viewing it and what you're viewing. Like, how do you want it to work out in the playoffs? Does that make sense? Because
Like, for example, right, Ballard? So the game of football is a momentum sport, right?
right,
So Ohio State has a big win over Tennessee. Penn State has a huge win over who they play, SMU.
SMU, yeah,
Notre Dame has a big win over Indiana, right? All these first round teams won. All these teams have momentum now going into the second round, right? And the teams that had the first round bye, well, their momentum, it kind of died down a little bit just because of how long. I mean, let's take Georgia for example. Actually, let's not take Georgia because people are going to say, "Well, you're just making excuses." Let's take Oregon for example.
okay,
They're the number one team in the country. They just won the Big Ten in the very first year of them being in the Big Ten. They won the Big Ten championship versus Penn State,
yep,
and then they waited. The last time they played was the Big Ten championship, so that's like almost I don't know. It was like not quite a whole month, but several weeks that you had to wait until you played your
Yeah,
next game.
you had about 3.5 weeks off for Oregon because they won the Big Ten. They get the bye, and they don't play again until January 1st. Well, you're playing at the beginning of December for the championship. Then you get almost a whole month until January 1st. But so you get all this time to prepare. But even still, you had Ohio State who beat Oregon in a rematch. But then let's say, okay, so who's another? Okay, Georgia. I think it's fair to use Georgia here. I know you're a Georgia fan, and I know you said you didn't want to use them to make excuses, but I think it's a good idea to use them here. They win the SEC over Texas. They get the bye. Again, they're not playing for another month, quite literally, actually. But um, and Notre Dame dog walks them, walk the dogs, and uh, 23-10. Was Georgia like at a disadvantage in that game? They had more time to prepare than Notre Dame did. Notre Dame had to prepare for Indiana, then turn around and prepare for Georgia. Now, Georgia,
Yeah,
having all
but
this
like,
time off, had to prepare for two teams. But at the same time, they still had that time where they could have prepared for Notre Dame, and they did, but it didn't pay off. So,
but the thing is,
yeah,
football is 100% a momentum sport.
right.
Like, if you basically, I'll take South Carolina for example. South Carolina went 6 weeks on a win streak. They went 6-0 the last 6 weeks of the season. They
Mhm.
were arguably one of the hottest teams in the country. Now, you know, that's why South Carolina Gamecock fans were crying and complaining about them missing the playoffs, even though I think the whole entire regular season absolutely matters. And that's why I believe they shouldn't have made it. But if they would have played the whole season like they did the last 6 weeks, they would have 100% been in the playoffs. But that's neither here nor there. But it's a momentum game, right? They had all
Right.
the momentum in the world. That couple winning games, and they were hot. They were the hottest team, kind of like Arizona State. They were one of the hottest teams in the country, along with South Carolina and Arizona State. They had a first round bye, and I feel like Arizona State probably played the best game out of all the ones that had the first round bye. Now, I will take up for my dogs because Notre Dame did not walk the dog. All right. Let's get that straight.
Okay.
Notre Dame beat Georgia within 54 seconds. I believe it was 54 seconds. Right before halftime, the aggressive call by Kirby Smart led to the fumble, which led to Notre Dame at the inside the 10-yard line, which led them to pretty much a free touchdown to go up by 10 points instead of only down by 3 points. And then right after halftime, you got a special teams touchdown, which made you go up by 17. You cannot go down 17 points, Ballard, with Notre Dame's defense. Notre Dame's defense is the truth. You cannot go down 17 points if you're Georgia facing an elite defense in Notre Dame. Had Georgia just taken a knee to go into halftime down by 3, maybe. See what I'm talking about? It's a momentum sport, right? All that
Right.
momentum all the momentum that Notre Dame had going into halftime because they got a free touchdown, which led them that momentum um, gave Notre Dame a special teams touchdown, which made them go up by 17. Offensively, offensively, um, offensively, Notre Dame only scored one touchdown on Georgia offensively. And that touchdown was a free touchdown given to Georgia because Kirby Smart made a boneheaded decision to trot out there and be aggressive whenever you only had like 20, maybe like 20 something seconds before halftime. That was stupid. Okay. So, I mean, I do believe had he just taken a knee, I don't think Notre Dame does return that special teams kick. And I think Georgia, they might have still lost the game at the end. Who knows what would have happened? But it would have been a lot closer game because you take away the two touchdowns, which is 14 points, and they only won by 13. Maybe Georgia wins by 1 point, 9-10. And like I said, you can't take away the results, give credit to Notre Dame, but let's not act like, Notre Dame had a great offense going in there and just blowing Georgia out the water. That's not what happened.
Right.
And Brian says elite defense, dude, is crazy. Look at the red zone performance of OSU defense. Ohio State has the elite defense too. Notre Dame has the elite defense. Notre Dame has a zero business even being in the championship, but that's what happens when sorry Georgia, okay, decided not to not play ball so we can have an actual game. Who are you? Who are you a fan of, Brian? That's my question. There's more than one elite defense. Notre Dame has an elite defense. I feel like Ohio State has elite defense. OSU, bud. Okay, y'all probably going to win the national title, but you've never beat Georgia, so it don't matter. You can say sorry, sorry Georgia, but OSU has never beat Georgia in the history of their program, bud. And Ohio State's not going to put up. I predicted that y'all going to beat them because y'all not good enough to be in the conversation. Y'all didn't even win a conference championship, bud. Y'all, Ohio State. The only reason why Ohio State and Notre Dame is in the national championship right now is because of a 12-team playoff. Had it been just a regular 4-team playoff, bud, y'all wouldn't have been in there, bud. All right, so, you know what I mean? I'm not crying. I predicted Ohio State to win the national championship, but let's just be honest. The 12-team playoffs helped out Ohio State and Notre Dame because without the 12-team playoff, Ohio State and Notre Dame would not be in the national championship. Buddy, how about you call in and let Ballard take your call, and you can talk your trash instead of typing. How about you do that, bud?
Good job, bud. Talking to
Yeah,
you, man. You put him in his place, bud.
I mean, how many chances do y'all need to give the SEC teams? Bama and Georgia are pathetic. Dude, have you not? Did you
A
not just
team
listen
that
to me?
won, yeah, Georgia's pretty pathetic for winning the SEC and like being a top 4 seed. That's pretty pathetic.
But like, did you not just listen to me,
And
bud?
Alabama's pathetic because in their first year with the head coach and barely a quarterback, they had 3 losses. Yeah, that's pathetic.
And you know what's pathetic? You know what's even more pathetic? That Ohio State has the chance to do the funniest thing and lose to Notre Dame, and then we'll never see Brian again. Brian. We'll never see Brian again. But And if you better hope and pray, bud, that Ohio State wins, because if y'all don't, I don't think y'all will ever win when Ryan Day. I don't. I really don't. If y'all do not win, bud, y'all would never win because y'all didn't win with the most talented team in C.J. Stroud. Whenever y'all had C.J. Stroud in company, y'all didn't win. You know, last season, y'all ain't winning. Well, I predicted y'all going to win, but if y'all don't win, man, y'all going to be the laughing stock of college football. $20 million roster and can't win the national championship. So, buddy, how about this, buddy? And like, it's crazy how like Ohio State fans are finally crawling back into the internet after they can't win versus Michigan. Michigan owns you, buddy. Michigan owns you, absolutely owns you. And if Michigan had a real head coach, then y'all wouldn't even be in this position. It'll be probably Michigan in the national championship again, bud, because you can't win. You just can't. So, I mean, take that for what it's worth. Yeah, Cody Hankins has a great point. Just a couple of weeks ago, y'all wanted Ryan Day to be fired, bud, and now y'all think y'all gonna climb back on into the internet and talk about some. We're gonna win the national championship. When y'all might. The game still has to be played, on paper, and what I've seen with my eyeballs. Ohio State looks and feels and everything like the better team, yes. But the only reason why Ohio State and Notre Dame's in the national championship, and let's just be completely honest, is because of a 12-team expanded playoff. That's it. That's literally it. If it was a 4-team playoff, it would be Oregon, Georgia, Penn State, and Texas. Ohio State and Notre Dame wouldn't even be thought of. And y'all would probably be screaming to the top of y'all's lungs, fire Ryan Day, because y'all cannot beat your big bro, Michigan. Bud.
Man, good one, bud.
Where's old buddy at right now? He needs to call
I don't
in.
know. He should call in. You know what he's literally doing right now? He's commenting on my latest videos and stuff. I'm getting all these notifications that he's commenting on my videos that I posted.
I mean, dude,
This is so funny. You got to see some of these comments, man. You gotta you can't make this up, bud.
like I
Look at
gave
this.
credit yesterday. I gave credit yesterday to Ohio State. I was not talking trash at all about Ohio State yesterday. And I said y'all were going to win 37-13, bud. And then you want to come on here talking trash, and because I said Notre Dame has an elite defense. Nobody was talking about Ohio State, buddy. Nobody. I was talking about Notre Dame. And like, you didn't even let me finish my train of thought. I don't even know my train of thought anymore. You done got me
I
all.
don't even know. I don't know where you were going, bud. I don't know where you were going, but either way, I think you were saying something about like something on track with Georgia, and the only reason like Notre Dame beat Georgia or something, which I don't know. Look, do I think Notre Dame's a good team? Yes.
Oh, I know what I
Are
was
they
trying to say.
championship? Okay, go ahead.
I know what I was trying to give credit to Notre Dame, even though I do think that I do believe Georgia beat Georgia that particular day. I was trying to give credit to Notre Dame, saying that they have an elite defense, and you cannot go down 17 points in a game where there's two high-level defenses playing. So that's why I feel like Kirby Smart made a horrific call to try to be aggressive there. instead of just taking a knee and going into halftime down only by 3 points instead of 10. You know what I mean? So, like, that's all I was trying to say. Nobody was even talking about Ohio State. But, you know, like, bro just comes in here, hears me say the name Notre Dame, and instantly thinks that I'm talking trash about Ohio State. Don't even watch. Just listens for 2 seconds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I do disagree with you, Cody, but I wish that would happen because I want to see Brian run off the internet and never come back. I mean, at least subscribe to the channel before you run away. Subscribe to Ballard Sports Media before you never come back. But I hope that does happen because Brian is going to be in shambles if that does happen.
Here's
And
my prediction,
Ryan,
by the way.
huh?
I said, here's my prediction, by the way, but you can keep going if you want.
Ryan Day. I mean, let's just be honest. Ryan Day always finds that one game where he just blows it. And maybe that game this year was the Michigan game where he just blew it. Maybe he's prepared this time finally. One of these two teams are going to win. I did predict Ohio State. So, yeah, he's scared. Brian's scared. And like, he knows that I'm telling nothing but straight facts. Like, only reason why these two teams are in the national championship is because of an expanded playoffs. It gave Ohio State and Notre Dame a second chance. It's literally it.
Brian,
mean-
if you're still watching, please call into the show.
Brian ain't going. Brian's too scared to call into to the show.
Please call in, bud.
Like, Brian's had multiple opportunities to call into the show, and he ain't doing it because
Yeah.
he knows I'm correct. And the only thing he has to say is that he's probably going to win the national championship, and that's the only thing he can hang his hat on. And that's the best thing you can hang your hat on is if you're a national champion. Congratulations, Georgia won back-to-back national championships. The only team in college football playoff era history to win back-to-back, by the way, and beat your team to do it. So, the Bama fans always want to say, well, they didn't have to go through Georgia in that second national championship. They didn't have to go through Alabama. Georgia didn't have to go through Alabama. So we went through Ohio State. So, we went through your team, bud. And we went through Alabama the first year that we won the national championship. So we ran through y'all in them 2 years. But yeah, I know Georgia's not going to win every single year. I'm not delusional. I remember Georgia whenever they were going 8-4, 9-3, 10-2 every single year. Like, I don't expect Georgia to win the national championship every single year. Would I like it? Yes, I would love to see that. But I remember the Mark Richt days where I would come home from middle school and see Vanderbilt beating us. I would come home from a school event on the weekends and then come home and find out that Vanderbilt just beat Georgia. Like, I remember that. I remember Georgia Tech beating us before. I remember them days, right?
Mhm.
So, like, I'm not sad. Georgia, we're so sorry that we went 10-2 in the hardest schedule this year. We've had the number one hardest strength of schedule. Went 10-2, which is amazing, and still found a way to win the SEC championship versus Texas, which we beat Texas twice, by the way. in one season, and they went to the semifinals of the playoffs. Texas did, and unfortunately, we just came up, a hair short, and it happens. Any given Saturday, any given day, whenever you're playing football, you can lose, and that's what you have to learn, Brian. That I do believe, like I said, I do believe Ohio State is going to win, but you still gotta get out there and play on the field. And although Notre Dame has to play like a perfect offensive game in order to beat Ohio State, they got a great defense that can stop Will Howard. Now, I gave credit on the live stream a few days ago. I gave a bunch of credit to Will Howard because I said that everybody's disrespecting Will Howard, and you need to give him his credit. But the games that Will Howard played terrible in, Ohio State lost. And, I'm just saying, you need your quarterback to lock in and play good. And, Texas already has the recipe to stop Jeremiah Smith. So all Notre Dame has to do is kind of copy and paste that on defense, lock down Jeremiah Smith for the whole game, and find ways to cover Emeka Egbuka and all them other guys. Was it Cardinal Tate or something like that? I can't remember. But just like I said, I really do believe Ohio State's going to win. So congratulations, Brian, bud, if y'all win. But if you don't, man, next Sunday or whenever he does the next call-in show, I'm gonna call in and I'm gonna make sure to say, "What now, bud?" But I'm gonna get off of here. Thanks for allowing me to come on here and talk to you and old buddy, old pal.
All right. Well,